Hello traders, how are we? Welcome to the live stream. What a difference a day makes. Yesterday was a bit doom and gloom. Yeah, if you joined me yesterday, I had man flu. I also had a couple of losing trades and it was all doom and gloom. Now, today it's all flowers and meadows and happy place. So yeah, things are looking a bit better today, guys. And my man flu is getting better, right? We know that this is life-threatening, but yeah, we're on the mend. So yeah, all good, guys. So what I'm going to do is show you a winning trade we've had so far today. And I'm also going to look at 3 other trades that I am currently in. All right, so we're going to understand those and what and how I'm going to trade them. I'm going to show you a couple of other things that I'm looking at, but I'm pretty much in every trade that I was looking at. There was one exception, Euro Aussie dollar sells, and in hindsight, I wish I had gotten into that trade. But I'm also gonna look at how, technical levels on higher time frames hold. And they're important and they're more reliable than obviously lower time frames. So there's a few things we're going to look at, guys. We're also going to take as many of your questions as possible. So we're streaming this live on YouTube and TikTok. That's how technologically advanced we are on Simply Forex. So yeah, we're live on both, guys. So yeah, get your questions over to me. Don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you like about trading. And people on TikTok, you have to give me a rose, apparently. This is a thing. So that's what we're going to do, guys. It's also very important to know. I'm just putting my phone on silent. I heard it cheeping away. It's also very important to know that we do have Trump speaking at 5:30 my time. So if we all click on the economic calendar, right, Trump is speaking at Davos. Now you're going to see that all of my trades are doing very nicely at the moment. So if Trump opens his mouth and sends all of my trades south, I am going to write a very stern letter to him. So yeah, there you go, guys. Let's see what he has to say. But yeah, really important at 5:30. I've been watching Davos today. It's been some interesting debates and conversations, just geopolitically. And Europe, quite rightly, are digging their heels in about Greenland, right? Their rhetoric has changed, and they're quite, they have a strong stance on it now. So that was interesting to hear from the Euro leaders today. And now we're all waiting for Trump's reaction, right? And will he go through with these tariffs? Until he gets his own way with Greenland, right? So this is everything that's the main focus at Davos today. But let's look at the charts to start with, right? Before I do, let's just say hello to a few people coming in. So hi, Brett, how are you? Nero, hi, how are you? Yes, yeah. So my computer should be working perfectly today, although I am streaming on 2 things. Nicholas, hi. Luigi, hi. Mark, how are you? Raphael and Max. And we've already got a question from Raphael about Euro US dollar longs. All right, so that's interesting, right? We'll take a look at that. And Broda, hi. Dan Laguna, hi. Right. Now, let's start with because yesterday, like I say, was a bit doom and gloom. Let's start with some positive news, right? So today's pound Canadian dollar trade hit target, right? So you can see with pound Canadian dollar, we was in this uptrend. And then when we broke these lows in here, we're in a downtrend. And I was looking for sells, okay? If we also look at the weekly at this point, right, you can see we have had, a big bearish wick on the weekly react at this level, right? And at this level, just to understand the weekly structure we're in, because that's super important, right? We were basically doing this. Price were kind of just shuffling sideways and then bang, we're in a downtrend. And this is basically where we're at, guys, right? We're in a downtrend stroke range, and we're ranging between here and here. So it's hit my first target, which obviously I'm happy about, but potentially it has room to make it all the way back down to the bottom of the range, right? And this 1.84 psychological level. So it's still a sell trade. I will get it, as long as the day chart keeps playing ball and we keep getting selling signals, I will re-enter this trade, right? And because looking at the weekly, right, it's a really good sell trade. Now, if we go to the daily, there is this important level through here, right? Let me zoom out a little bit more, right? You can see price has hit this even there, several times in the past, right? It is an important level. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here, right? If we end up with a big bearish candle kind of sailing through that level, I can't wait to get back into this trade, right? I'll be looking for retraces and to take it lower. But yeah, I've been in this trade for some time, guys, right? So yeah, it was simple daily, weekly telling me I can sell, and then H4 structure breaking down, right? H4 downtrend, it became a little bit rangy. But what I really liked was this candle here from yesterday. I got in over here, but what I really liked was this candle yesterday because it held on to this H4 high, right? And then ever since then, it's been hurtling down. Even though we had, we did have some data come out of the UK. So if we go to the economic calendar, right, you can see it's a bit of a mixed bag, right? We had, negative PPI, but positive CPI. But this combined, right, led to a bearish pound. So yeah, pound Canadian dollar, happy days. I'm also in pound US dollar, right? So this too is looking nice, right? It's coming down. And again, I entered this yesterday, right? Once we had a bounce off of this level. Okay, and now why was this level so important is because it was the last daily high, right? Now, if it breaks that, I am no longer interested in selling. But if we go to the daily, you can see clearly now the rain has gone. Sorry, I'm going to have a drink after that. I promise not to sing ever again. So yeah, I'm just checking, guys. My camera and everything is all good, and my chart's all good. It's just that I'm live streaming on TikTok and YouTube. So yeah, this was that last daily high that I was talking about. So at this point, we were still in a uptrend, right? And then bang, that candle, this candle right here, breaking that low, put us into a downtrend, right? That last high there was why I entered. It wasn't really a H4 entry. It was a bearish reaction at a daily level, right? And you can see the reaction we had, right? So this, if I wasn't in this trade from yesterday, this would be a trade I wanted to get into today. Because so far so good, right? We're coming down nicely, guys. We've got a little bit more room before we hit target, but again, I will leave some profit to run here for sure. So yeah, pound US dollar. I'm in two more trades, so let me just show you those quickly. Euro Canadian dollar, we know all about. And again, this is pretty much a daily trade. Even arguably a weekly trade. So let's start with the weekly. Now, again, we were at this point, we're in an uptrend, and then we broke down, and we're now in a range, right? We're getting lower lows, lower highs, downtrend, stroke range, right? We had this nice big bearish candle from last week, and I'm still looking to take it back down to these lows potentially. Now, we know we had all this, euro strength coming to the market, but we spoke about this yesterday. It's just Trump opening his mouth, right? So you have to question the strength of these moves. They're more like knee-jerk reaction moves as opposed to sustained geopolitical macroeconomic moves, right? There's normally a quick knee-jerk reaction to what Trump says, and then charts go back into what they were doing before, right? We've seen it time and time again with Trump. So I got into this trade because these highs held only just, but we had a gap, we had a wick that gapped back down to that level. So that high held, right? So I'm interested in selling it. I still think that weekly trade is still on, right? Now, obviously, Trump's about to speak, so, we will see. But I don't have a long way to go, right? Because I was aggressive with the entry at the daily high, right? Stops here. Really, I'm just taking it down to the next piece of H4 support, right? So that seems quite reasonable. Yeah, so Euro CAD, that's the trade I'm in there. And then the last one is New Zealand dollar Swiss franc. And this has been rocketing all day, which is exactly what I wanted. And again, right, this is really important to point out as well, guys, right? Because, when you have these knee-jerk reactions, the H4 structure, for example, will get blown out of the water. You'll break H4 structure like that. Don't even, forget talking about 5-minute or 10-minute, right? H4 structure will just be broke like that with a Trump comment. Even daily structure will be broken, right, with some of these comments. But weekly structure, it would have to be a hell of a comment that comes out of Trump's mouth, right? So this is what I have faith in the higher timeframes. Because if you look at the weekly, right, on New Zealand Swiss franc, I've explained this trade before, but we are firmly in an uptrend, higher lows, higher highs. And just look at these candles, bullish, bullish, on the daily, bullish, right, until yesterday, right? But yesterday I got into the trade. And we had a daily structure break. Everything's telling me to buy this. This candle is just a daily knee-jerk reaction, right? And if we look at the H4, this is nicely in profit, and this trade is back on track, right? But again, we've got the Trumpinator speaking later. So yeah, that's me, guys. That's everything that I am in. But let's take a look at a few of your questions, guys, right? So don't be shy, get as many questions over to me as possible. Please also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and smash the like button. And if you enjoy, my analysis, my tutorials, and everything I have to say, guys, then why not check out my course, right? I've basically put 17 years of trading all into this course, and right now we are running a promotion. So please, guys, just take under a minute to check this out. Traders, it's 2026, and if you're here, then I'm sure you want to make this the year where you start trading like a pro and start achieving real consistency and real results.
Right now, there is 50% off the Simply Forex Complete Trading course, jam-packed with almost 20 years of my trading experiences, skills, strategies, and tools. And if that's not enough, once you have completed the course, you will get 2 one-hour mentorship sessions with me, Trader Tom, included in the price. This offer finishes on the 15th of February, so don't delay. Click on the link in the vid description and use the code at checkout.
Right, there you go, guys. So please go check it out. Right, back to the comments, because Raphael wanted to look at Euro US dollar sells. Where's Raphael's question? Let me just bring it up on the thingy. There we go. Right, now, so this is really interesting, right? So this goes back to the point I made about trusting higher time frames. Because if you looked at the weekly, right? Let's zoom in, right? If you looked at the weekly, you would see a ranging market, okay? Yeah, from here to here, right? And you would see, you know, if we zoom in, just bearish candles, bearish, bearish, bearish. And what I like and what I'm looking for when I see bearish candles is the low of the next candle breaking the low of the previous candle, and the low of that candle breaking the low of that candle. That suggests momentum, right? And daily, you know, until yesterday's candle, right, everything was pointing to a downtrend as well. Okay, and we broke out of this trend line and we ended up with this big bullish push. Now, this was obviously geopolitics that gave us this big euro strength. Now, because of this, we have daily versus weekly conflict, right? Because on the daily, we broke that level. We're now in an uptrend, right? And if price come back down to this low, yeah, that would suggest a good buying opportunity, right? So daily, yes, a buying opportunity. But as I just showed you with weekly, right, very much a selling opportunity. And even if even if daily trend stays in an uptrend, let's imagine this weekly candle looking like, let me draw that line again. Let's imagine this weekly candle looking like this, right? With this big wick, right? It would still be in a daily uptrend, but the weekly is still firmly telling you to sell. So for that reason, Euro US dollar has become a little untouchable for me, right? You know, let this week play out, you know, and let's see where that weekly candle finishes. Let's see how the daily chart finishes. Then I'll reevaluate Euro US dollar. But right now, because of that daily weekly conflict, you know, I'm not interested in it. You know, and I've got 28 other currency pairs to pick from. It's not like I have to trade Euro US dollar, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing with Euro US dollar. You know, things like Euro Aussie dollar were not a problem. And this was the trade that, you know, let's say got away, right? Because I was very much tempted to just start selling here. I was going to have my stops up here, take it to these lows, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? No room in trading for hindsight. But my point here is that this Euro Aussie dollar, right? No matter how much strength we saw in the euro yesterday, it still held daily structure. And it was very much still a sell trade. This was actually a weekly trade idea from my weekly Forex forecast. So I'm still very much interested in this trade, but you can't help but think, you know, Elvis has left the building, right? Price is now down here. So, and it was the same with EuroCAD, right? You know, it held on to this last high. If it starts breaking this high, I'm out. I'm not interested, right? So, yeah, there you go, Raphael. Hope that helps with Euro US dollar. Okay, so Max has just got a comment here. Today, more than ever, be careful. Trump has arrived, but he's delayed. So the schedule for the speech is not assured, and what he will say may dictate today. Yeah, absolutely. Right, but interesting, it might be delayed. So it was 5:30 Dubai time, which is 1:30 GMT. So, yeah, when he does speak, hold on to your hats. Yeah, so Max having the same thing. Yeah, yesterday bad, today good. Yes. Right, what else are we looking at, guys? Euro Swiss franc for Silvina. Let's have a look at Euro Swiss franc. Now, Euro Swiss franc, it's worth putting in this level, right? It's holding on to this level by the skin of its teeth, right? And I was very much looking at the weekly chart. And you'll notice today, guys, I'm going more to the weekly chart because of the volatility in the markets has moved the market so much that I have to go to the weekly to make some sense of it, right? And in that regard, right, Euro Swiss franc is still in this uptrend, right? It may have come back down here, but we're in an uptrend. We're getting higher highs and we were getting higher lows, right? So right now, Euro Swiss franc is at a weekly low, which could determine that it stays in a weekly uptrend, or we get a break of that low and we're in a weekly downtrend, right? Again, probably what Trump says today is going to have a big impact on that. So let's look how things are reacting so far. Now, it is holding on to that level. So if it did hold on to this level, right, and say we got a nice bullish candle, would I want to start buying that? Potentially, because of that weekly chart, right? But obviously, you know, this daily structure has clearly broken down. And this would become very much a weekly swing trade, right? So yeah, not a A1 top-notch setup. But if we start seeing buyers in here, right, you know, we do have lots of room to move into. If we break this level, right, we're potentially having a weekly structure break. And like anything in trading, right, like anything in trading, if it breaks this support level, right, chances are price will make it to the next support level, right? It's as simple as that, guys, a lot of the time. If it breaks the support level, it'll make it to the next. Let's imagine it started building up, right? And it broke this resistance level. Chances are it will make it to the next resistance level. You know, that is a strategy in itself, right? But ideally, you want to be with trend when this happens. So Euro Swiss franc is at a key level, and I would see and wait and see what happens at this level. Yeah, and Trump's going to have a big say on that today as well, obviously. Right. What else are we looking at? Okay, so we're getting lots of questions in now. Hi, Lee. Hi, Tony. Major. I like this. I feel like I'm in the army. Gold. Yeah, we can take a look at gold. Lee saying Trump will blame Biden for his poor timekeeping. Yeah, poor Biden gets blamed for everything. He wasn't the best president, was he? But, you know, let's not blame him for everything. Dan Laguna, Tom, what do we think of Aussie dollar Swiss franc sales? Okay. All right. So let's start with gold. Right. Before I do, guys, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Also, if you haven't already, please come join our free Discord trading community. And I'm going to give you one very good reason to do so. So if you'll see this here, guys, right? So let me show this on the screen. Every Sunday, our in-house trader, Brett, will take you through all of his trading levels for the following week. It's totally free, open to all Discord members. All you have to do is join, right? It's every Sunday, 5 p.m. UK time, and it's your perfect start to the trading week. So come join the Discord. There's also many other reasons to join it. Please go check out the website, all above my head, guys. On there, you can get access to all of our premium trading education, right? There'll be something in there to help you. And also, guys, right now, if you want to support the channel, then please sign up with Pepperstone, our preferred broker. And if you do so, we will also give you free VIP Discord access. We'll give you a free Essential Trading View subscription, and I'll give you over 4 hours of a price action masterclass, right? I do not understand why people don't bite my hand off for that promotion, but there you go. I can only keep saying the same things. And, you know, guys, take advantage of that Pepperstone promotion. It's bloody good. If I was in your shoes, I know, you know, you're probably thinking, yeah, Tom, but I would, right? I would take advantage of that promotion, right? Again, join the Discord, it's all on there. And all the information for everything in this live stream is in the video description. All the links, everything. Right, enough of all that. Let's go back to gold. You are gold. I always have to sing that song. Now, I can tell you this now. Gold is a buy trade, but it's too overextended. There's no value. I've been saying that for gold for weeks, right? But do you want to buy gold at this point, right? Now, everyone wants to buy gold, right? You know, you have to be a bit of a madman to sell gold right now, right? Geopolitically, everything's screwed, loads of wars, loads of problems. The indices are teetering at highs, starting to break down on the daily, right? Gold is a flight to safety. Central banks are buying it up. It's become the new, you know, place to put your money, right? And it's tangible, right? You know, you can have a block of gold, right? I've got several. I just leave them around the house. Did you know in Dubai, I don't know if it's still there, but in the Atlantis Hotel, you can put money into a cash point and out comes a bar of gold. So I can put cash in to buy a little bar of gold. I've never done it, but yeah, that exists in Dubai. Only in Dubai would you get that. You wouldn't get that in Sainsbury's in the UK. The cash points there wouldn't do it. But yeah, you know, so everything's pointing towards to buy gold. But excuse me, guys, still a little bit of man flu. But I just don't want to buy it. You know, there's no value, right? Here, right? Good value. Here, no value. If it retraced into maybe this high here, right? Our smart river, which is part of our price action indicator, catches up, right? Somewhere in here, we could have potentially a good buy trade. So in here, yes, interested because there is value. Up here, you know, where do you put your stop loss? You start buying up here, it's got to go all the way down here. Whereas if you wait for value, right, and you start buying in here, your stop loss is in the same place, but, you know, it's much smaller. and you've got a target. Now, having said that, price could keep doing this for the next 12 years, but I don't care, right? I want value when I trade. So gold represents no value. And don't get me started on silver, right? Look at, okay, stuttering a little bit. But you look at the weekly, that really puts it in perspective. You know, do you want to start buying up here? And you have to bear in mind, our smart river, right, like I say, part of our price action indicator, is the mean, like the average of this chart of price. And in the history of trading, price has always come back to the mean. Now, obviously, this will catch up with price as we go, but it will eventually get back to the mean. Never, ever in the history of trading has it not. So until we start getting near our smart river, I'm not interested, right? Again, this could keep flying, but there's just no value. But to be honest with you, you know, if I had a pound for every time I said that, yeah, you know, but I just can't. There's no value. Right, what else are we looking at? Dan Laguna, Tom, what about Aussie dollar, Swiss franc? Right, we're getting... just got to look at this comment. Broder, Biden is an idiot. Thanks for clearing that up, Broder. Yeah, he wasn't the best. Anyway, back to Aussie dollar, Swiss franc. A sell trade, no, because of the weekly. Right? Arguably, it's a very nice weekly buy trade. Now, looking at the weekly, I still think because of this last high over here, we still have enough room up to this 0.54. Right? I was having a chat with someone in the Discord about this, right? Now, but not only that, right? We've got this level, but not only that, look at weekly structure, right? I'll get you more reasons not to sell it, right? We're clearly in a weekly uptrend. Now, I know we are at these highs, right? But, you know, we are at a support level as well, right? And we can see a weekly support level through here. I mean, if I bring this up on the daily, which has broken down, right? Look at the bounce we're getting off of it. And rightly so, right? Resistance, 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 resistance. When it breaks, becomes good support, right? We see this setup time and time again. In fact, if this was the only setup you ever did, you would be consistently profitable. I know that's a bold statement, but it's true. Break, retest, enter. It's the age-old setup, right? Now, it's a good support level, and so far, price is showing me that. Right? Again, it's not me having an opinion on Aussie dollar, Swiss franc. It's the chart showing me, right? Now, I do understand what you're saying, Dan Laguna. We don't agree on many things because Dan supports Arsenal. But we've broken these lows. And I totally get that, right? That is in a daily downtrend, right? 100%. But we're at a weekly support level. So again, like Euro US dollar, and this volatility has led to this, all right? It's made this chart untradeable for me. Weekly's telling me to buy it, daily's telling me to sell it. Now, you know, you'd argue, but weekly is the higher time frame that should prevail. But daily is probably the most watched chart, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say that comment's true. Like daily, for sure, and weekly, are more reliable than H4, H1, you know, and all the small time frames, of course. But comparing daily and weekly, I say they're on par, really. So I can't trade this, right? So yeah, that's what I'm seeing, Dan Laguna. Okay, Max doesn't like Euro Swiss franc for a trade, yeah. And I'll tell you another thing with Euro Swiss franc is the big gap down. That hasn't been filled. This needs to be filled, right? Which does tell me if we get a nice bullish reaction here, just filling that gap might be a trade. But filling gaps is not part of my strategy. I was about to come up with a terrible joke then, but I refrained. Tom, do you ever consult the VIX as a barometer for market volatility? No, never. Really, you know, you can see the volatility in the market and feel it, right? You know, I'm here, you know, this is my job. I'm here looking at the charts, not, you know, not like that all day, as I'd go mental if I haven't already. But you can feel the volatility. You can see the volatility. Get me teeth in. So yeah, I don't, Lee, to be quite frank. It doesn't come into any of my decision making. So there you go. There's a very short, frank answer. Right, what else gonna? Yeah, this is not a bad idea from Daniel. I might just take a holiday for this week till the market has decided what it wants. Probably not a bad idea, Daniel, to be fair. You know, I kind of touched on this yesterday as well, guys, right? There's been many times where there's loads of noise going on, right? It doesn't matter what prime minister, what president, you know, what war, what geopolitical friction, what macroeconomic environment we're in, COVID, this, that, and the other. I have traded through all of them, and I have kept with the same strategy and system, right? And it's produced consistent results, right? Some years better than others, obviously, right? Now, that has taught me to just tune out to the noise. But having said that, Trump is bloody noisy. It's difficult to tune that megalomaniac out. And I've never felt like that in all the years I've been trading, right? You know, even big moves like COVID and you know, the tariffs and you know, but the more and more Trump is here, the more noisier he becomes, and he's become difficult to ignore. And that's all I have to say on the matter, right? Whether you decide to have a week off or you just trade and stick to your system, there's an argument for both, right? Neither are wrong. So yes, yeah, okay. I just like a thank you. Thank you, Tom, for the insight. You're very welcome. Thank you for your very good manners. I try to teach my daughter manners every day. And she gets please and thank you around the wrong way. I say, anyway, not important. Just being a dad, telling everyone about my daughter. Anyway, okay, Niraj, this is a juicy question to get into. Is there a holy grail system in trading? Yes, I'm going to say yes, but hear me out, right? Because every time, if I had £1 for every trader, YouTube trader, that said, you know, this is the holy grail of trading, you know, this is a 90% win rate, I make $10,000 in 3 seconds, you're like, shut up, you moron, right? Those clickbait videos, which everyone falls for, annoys the shit out of me, right? Now, and just on a side point, right, I have this debate with my editor, right? He's like, Tom, just tell him you made, you know, 1.5 grand on that trade. It took you 30 seconds. And, you know, I'm like, I don't want to become one of them dickheads, right? So that just aggravates me, right? You're not going to learn anything there. Anyway, there's my little rant. But the Holy Grail system, right? There isn't one, right? The Holy Grail system suggests here's a system and you'll win, right? You'll be a millionaire by Christmas, right? But the Holy Grail for any trader is to find a system that suits you. You need a system that makes sense to you, is logical to you, is on a time frame that you are able to trade, and ultimately is reasonably simplistic. Because simplicity, glad I said that correct, been struggling with words today, is the best way to help your psychology trade. Right? If something's very simple and repeatable, it makes the psychology element of trading easier. If your system is quite complex and has many different variables, it ultimately makes the psychology element more difficult, right? But really, the Holy Grail is finding something that makes sense to you and suits you. And really, this is what Simply Forex is about, right? I'm trying to teach you how to read a naked chart. You don't need, you know, XYZ indicators, right? You just need to be able to read a chart, right? And the raw data the chart gives you, you can make informed decisions from, right? And that is what seemed logical and made sense to me. And I found, looking at the daily and weekly and ultimately entering on the H4 or even entering on the daily, that's what made sense to me. So that was my Holy Grail, right? That might not be somebody else's Holy Grail, but that's when everything clicked into place for me, right? So yeah, that's what you need to focus on, right? That's the magic sauce. Is that the right thing? Magic sauce, yeah. So yeah, that's what I would say on that. Right, what else we're looking at? Okay, so what else we're looking at? Are you bearish on the NAS? What's that indicator called? So Jeremy, yeah, so our indicator, right, is real-time data. Our indicator, our price action pro indicator, is made up of real-time data. We don't use lagging indicators, right? We're about setting up levels that you can trade from, and it's based all on the way I trade, basically. So me and the Simply Forex team got together and we've tried to replicate how I trade and put it into an indicator. And what we've come up with is pretty bloody good, right? And in fact, the indicator this month is kicking my ass, right? It's trading better than me, right? I have no problem with that, you know, and there's lots of traders in our community getting great results using it. So guys, you know, if you want something very mechanical and takes away a lot of the decision making for you, then yeah, please check out our Price Action Pro indicator. Again, the link is in the video description. Okay. Right. Broder, just quickly, US dollar, Canadian dollar. I'm doing this for you, Broder, as Broder is a supporter of the channel. His name is in green. He is a supporter of the channel. Yeah, interesting level right now, right? Yeah, but two things, right? Now, I'm going to say that was not a significant enough high and low, right? Why? Because we never broke the high. If we had gotten this scenario, right, and then we come crashing down and we made higher highs, that low becomes significant enough to be deemed as a break of structure now, right? But it didn't. We never made a higher high. So ultimately, price has pretty much done this, and we're here, really. So we're in an uptrend, right? US dollar, Canadian dollar is in an uptrend, and we're at a really nice level here. But look at the weekly, right? Downtrend, and, right, if we just kind of take this, right, we're in a downtrend and we're back at that level. You can see it's held, it's been good resistance and support, and it's actually held at that level. So if you looked at the weekly, you'd be like, right, Tom, let's sell it back down to these lows. And I'd be like, yeah, that's a great idea. If you go to the day chart, right, and you said, Tom, at this support level, let's buy it back up to here, I'd be like, yeah, great idea. So there's your problem, right? It's conflicting information, and I don't want that, right? I want everything telling me the same. I want weekly, daily, everything telling me I can buy or everything telling me I can sell. Italian, lots of people asking about the indicator, which is great, guys, because it's helping out a lot of traders. So please click on the link in the video description. There's all the links and information you need, guys. So just click on the links, whatever you're interested in, take a look, and ultimately come join our Discord. And we've got all the answers in there for you anyway. Guys, that has brought us to the end. Thank you very much for your time today. Hope you enjoyed it. I did. Let's see what Trump has to say later on. And let's do this again, 12 p.m. tomorrow, GMT. And I'll see you there, guys. All right. Have a good day.